Hi, welcome in. Today I want to talk about importing assets into Unity. Let me get a share screen going here. Importing assets, Unity is really good at this. It doesn't take much to do it. There are a couple of ways. One very simple way is if you have a folder that contains assets. Here's an FBX, which is the kind of thing that people make in Blender and so forth. Here's some materials, here's some textures, and I can very simply import this just by dragging it into my assets, and everything is imported. That's all there is to that. Here's our materials all set up. Alternatively, if you have downloaded a package like the LeRpz asset Unity package that I've put on Brightspace and on my Google Drive, we can import a package, pick a custom package, and then choose the package that we want to import, and that brings that shows me what we're bringing in, and then we import it, and it's all imported. And so now I have this folder that has my LeRpz in it. A couple of things here with LeRpz. One thing here, if I bring this guy in, he's there, but he's really small. And so I need to go over here, and the scale factor is 0.001. This is often the case with imported content. If I just set this to 1 and re-import it, now he's the right size. Now he's a full size 2-meter character with everything. I believe that I can, no, this guy doesn't have his materials on him. So let me drop out of this one. I'll go and work with the other set here. Notice LeRpz disappeared. He's missing prefab. But with my LeRpz from the folder import, he happens to be the right size already. If I look at him, his scale factor is also set to 1. There's also a convert units that changes 1 centimeter from the file to 0.01 meter in Unity. This also can help you to fix things. My recommendation is rescale here so that he fits the world, rather than using the scale factors here. If you do this here, you'll run into all kinds of trouble later on. Let me reset that so he's in the center. And I'll turn him around so he's facing the light. Okay, so that's importing the character. Pretty simple. Now, many of the assets are easy to manipulate. I mentioned that textures. So here I've got, I have a material for LeRpz. This is his material that has a base layer, that's his albedo, and it has a normal map, that's for the bumps. And if I look at these textures, one thing I notice is the texture is kind of dark. And so perhaps I might want to lighten that up. He's pretty dark here. And so I can just click on this. And since I have it set to open textures with Photoshop, it immediately opens it up here. And I've got my texture that is what LeRpz is all about. So I want to lighten this up. I can just run a smart fix and then I can save this and save, replace. And so now if I go back into Unity, uh, um, if I go back into Unity, save it, go back into Unity, uh, the texture is now lightened up and LeRpz is a lot lighter. Another thing that I'm not terribly happy with is this bump map, the thing that makes for the relief that shows on LeRpz. We'll talk about this later when we get to materials. But I want to have a more extreme bump map. And so I'm going to make a duplicate of this, and I'll call it normal for the normal map. That's an alternative name for bump maps. And I'm going to select that texture and make it a normal map type. These normal maps always look like this kind of magenta color for reasons that you don't need to understand. But if I apply this, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to create the bump map from grayscale. This is how bumpy I want it to be, how exaggerated I want the bumps to be. Let me set this down to about 0.1. And rather than sharp, I'll pick smooth. Smooth makes nicer bumps. And I apply this, and now I have my bump map. And this is the thing that's going to make for the relief on our LeRpz character. Now I have to go to the material for LeRpz, and I have to drag that new bump map, the normal map, into the normal map slot. And now if I look in at LeRpz, if I look up close to them, I can see that there's this bumpy texture. And my material on LeRpz, which is here on his skinned mesh, my material on here, I can adjust things like how strong the normal map is. Now, I can't actually do that here because this is using a legacy shader, and the legacy shaders don't have sliders for that. So if I change this to a standard shader, now I have a strength for this normal map, and I can make the bumps bigger and I can make the bumps smaller. I now have some control over how bumpy I want my character to be. Let's set it at 1. That's nice and bumpy. So that's my LeRpz. And I've made him bumpy. Now, I can do other things. Let me open Photoshop again. And this time I'll use one of the select tools and I'll pick his eye here. And I've got now his eye nicely selected. And I can go in and I can replace that color with red and save this and go back to Unity. And now the texture already, without doing anything, is re-imported with the new red eye here. And if I look in at LeRpz, I can see now it has bloodshot eyes. So things are easy to manipulate in here. We'll talk more about materials later, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is to manipulate various assets in our world. The FBXs are a standard format of Cinema 4D, Maya, and Blender. A lot of content was created as an FBX and is easily imported in here. So I'm going to stop sharing at this point, and I'm going to stop sharing at this point, and I'm going to stop recording.